Recently, I started doing two things that have made me feel like I have two extra arms. Like I have two arms on this side and two arms on this other side. And on this side is video, and on this other side is branding. And I wish I had started before. Now, video, for somebody like me, it's so important because it's the thing where I can put a camera on the work and I can show the work. And there is no better marketing for somebody like me who works as a coach, mentor, sparring partner to place a camera on the work and just show what happens there. And branding is this feeling of coherence, this feeling of that everything is belonging together and everything is using the same grammar that makes people feel at home and feel a certain vibe. And you can still have, let's say, good design, but when you bring this design into a coherent whole, then you feel better about expressing yourself. And I'm thinking about expressing myself in slides, in a LinkedIn post, in a YouTube thumbnail. But I just make people feel better because they kind of get to be part of my universe and part of my world. So let's start off with video. So why didn't I do video? Well, I was doing video, but I was doing video in two specific contexts. The first one is if somebody else was filming. Okay, so if I was performing on stage, somebody else was filming. And the second thing is like if I had a course or something to teach. And then I do understand that teaching the same thing to every single person one-on-one doesn't make sense. You can leverage by putting it in a course. But these were the only two things. And I would over-prepare for each one of these opportunities. What I'm doing instead right now and what changed is that I allowed myself just to show up in video, just to switch on a camera like this one and just to talk. And it looks like, from the comments and from the views, it looks like this is one of the formats that work. And I even started, thinking about how to brand the channel and start to call it in a certain name. I don't know what's gonna be called right now, but I'm thinking, think with Matteo Cassese. But this requires the courage and the patience of setting up the camera, setting up the light, and then looking at yourself, like I'm looking at myself right now, looking at one's own imperfections, dealing with maybe not being completely coherent in what you say. There's a lot of pain in producing a video, most of the time, unless you just, stop thinking about it and you just produce the video. So what has been incredibly helpful in thinking through video has been being in vicinity with people who produce video and who have YouTube channels and knowing them personally and realizing that they are a human being just like you and me. And so there is nothing supernatural or superhuman. It's part of your job. Like, for instance, part of my job is going on stage and speaking, and now it's completely normal. Before, it was a big thing. Oh my God, I need to go on stage. Oh, I have butterflies in my stomach. And I still do. But now I know that it's part of my job. And now I've made this video creation part of my job. And I think you should do too. Now, when I shoot a video, I do shoot a video because it gets me to show the work. So for instance, when I shoot a whiteboard video, now I have the whiteboard prepared for a retreat this weekend. When I have a whiteboard video, what I want to do is to just point the camera at the work, me figuring something out. When I do a video like this, which is more, let's call it a YouTube style video, what I'm doing is I'm thinking through something that is very recent, okay? And maybe that I haven't, a thought that I haven't really completely expressed. And I can do this in real time with you. And the other format is actually documentaries, and I'm gonna post the first documentary shortly, where you actually see my clients, myself the work. That's it. Very, very simple. But to get to this simplicity, there's a lot of chaos, because there's all the expectations. Should it be scripted? What should I have in front of me? Should I have a timeline? Should I already have, should I prepare props? Should I then edit? And so on. And then there's the production aspect. And the production aspect can be a very big burden. Now, one of my choices is to shoot basically with iPhones and with webcams. I'm using a really good 4K webcam, but it's still a webcam. It's one of the ones that kind of follow you on a little gimbal. And it's just a good one. And I have a ring light, and that's it. And now I have some other lights that I don't need to use for this. But there is a degree of production. You need a microphone, you need to edit, and so on and so forth. But I think the biggest burden for me was the strategic thought of how to work on all of this. And the thing that helped me the most was to connect with a video maker friend, Thad Swift. I'm just going to briefly flash his channel here, where now this is a channel where he posts his own story, but he's produced music videos and has a wedding video company. I don't know if it's still working, but with Thad, he helped me with one really important process, which was hiring video makers and then defining formats and helping me think through formats and think through the process of hiring video makers. And this is what has allowed me right now to have, what you see here. This brings us as well to the branding. We'll get there in a second. And it brings me to having a definite confidence in the fact that I can produce these whiteboard videos. I can produce these videos that are like this one, just me in front of the camera, and soon I will have those video documentaries. And plus, I'm producing more and more videos of talks, like here, The Power of Vulnerability is one talk. There's the talking show reel. And you can see these videos, they are not for the masses, but here we have this masterclass video that has 8,000 views in 2 years. And before today, I was kind of delegating like to others. Oh, Factory is going to do the filming. Amazing. They're going to do the editing, etc. Now I've taken the burden on myself to do something like this. So my strong invitation, start doing video. But let's talk, since we were up here, and you can see it's all completely incoherent. So there's one thumbnail style here to the left. Then there's whiteboard session help is another thumbnail style. Time strategy session to press play. And then there's distraction is not a real enemy is another style. And then my secret digital team is another style. So we don't want that. Actually, I'm trying to uniform everything to the one to the left to let the work do the talking and see how that performs. But what does it mean for me to have a branding? Like, I've always had kind of design, right? So I always had my website, some sort of logo. And I mean, the website is kind of designed. It has some kind of colors, and it doesn't look half as bad. And if you compare it to a lot of websites, it's pretty decent, I find. These are all styles that I've inherited somehow from themes from WordPress and stuff on the internet and so on. And so it doesn't look bad, and if you have good photo assets, it all works. So it's okay, but there's really a step up from this, which is to have an actual design language. So to have brand guidelines, to have, this logo was really just me playing with my friend Conrad. But you start, more importantly than the logo, which I don't care too much, like I love it, but I don't care too much about it. It's, for instance, to have a very clear hierarchy of brand colors here. And so in the future, these are the only colors that I'm going to use. And it's very freeing to have this kind of limitation of the grammar of color that you are going to use. And then there's typography. And this is the decision that for me, it was the hardest. Like, what kind of font am I going to use? And I started with my whole design work with a really computery font. And so I thought, no, we're going back. We can't do this. But it really works together with being very playful to have this kind of font. And then whenever we need, we have a serif font that actually works. And then the beauty of it is that we have this really playful imagery, but that also has this kind of deadpan comedy seriousness to it. So it's both, shows both authority and playfulness, which is me. It finally captures me. I'll tell you in a second how we got here. And then all the photos are black and white. There's a halo, there's an outline. The profile pictures kind of have to look like this. And then there's this idea that we can ruin stuff. You can make stuff pretty, you can make stuff less pretty, and so on and so forth. And yeah, the imperative is mix, match, ruin. And here, there you go. This is perfect. This is wonderful. And it becomes a series of assets. So for instance, these are all the things that we can write on. So receipts, or we can write on the business model canvas. We can write on the guest check, etc., etc. And then it all translates into, for instance, these invitations, like at the farm, or it looks like these LinkedIn carousels. Now, how do I feel about this? I feel that finally I can give people a vibe. I can give people a sense, also visually, of who they are approaching, what they're approaching, who I am, what do I stand for. And this is like, it's priceless. Why haven't I done this before? Why have I played with, different things and tried things out on my own? It took a while. It took some work, but it was a fantastic process. So the way that I got to this branding, first of all, by working with Charles Miller. And Charles is both a designer and also, let's say, a branding expert. And as a branding expert, he's created a system for clients to go through the branding process themselves and end up with having a fantastic brand brief. And this idea of having a brand brief is extraordinary, because the problem that designers face is usually that whenever I go to the designer, I don't have any clear ideas. And it's basically the same with the video maker. Whenever I go to the video maker, I don't have a clear idea. And so I cannot express my idea to the craftsperson. And then the craftsperson is not delivering what I want. Instead, what going through this process with Charles, it's here at services. Yeah, so advisory, that would be it. I get tailored strategy, expert guidance, and ongoing support to elevate your reputation, all without hiring anyone full-time. Or, yeah, the brand roadmap, it's actually, this is also really useful, and the daily emails are really great. But when I had a very clear brief, and I worked on a brief for months, because I would do the brief and I would say, oh, maybe I should look for a designer, and then I wouldn't find a designer, and then I went back to the brief and I said, I don't know, maybe I need to change some things. So it was never a straightforward process, like, this is the idea, this is the brief. It's very messy, it's very chaotic. But then at some point on LinkedIn, I get the connection from Ljubojev, and she She tells me, oh, I'm a brand designer, I'm a branding expert, I have this branding studio. But she was curious about my coaching. And so we start talking, and I start seeing the work that she does. And I say, oh, well, this looks really cool. Like, it looks really edgy, and I love it. And I think, after a week after the call, I say, okay, no, it's not about you hiring me. I'm going to hire you. So this is how it happened, that I found somebody that had like some ideas and a visual style that really matched with me. And now the feeling, overall, is that I can have video that speaks to my values, and people can find it on the internet and can enjoy it. And I don't need to be everywhere all the time. Yes, I organize events. Yes, I speak on the stage. And then it also becomes a beautiful video. And I'm learning a ton. I've had a whole 5-hour shoot go wrong. I've been like really disappointed with myself. I've chosen the wrong vendors. I've chosen the wrong filmmakers. There's a ton of stuff that's went wrong in all of this. And now that I kind of made peace with the fact that something is going to go wrong in every shoot for a while, so maybe for 6 or 7 months, because these are all real-time things. Like, I'm doing a thing and people need to capture it, and also they need to be out of the way. And so as my hard drive could fail right now, and my camera could fail right now, anything can happen. And I kind of accepted this finally, and I'm at peace with the fact that it's not going to be perfect. But I have this possibility to just switch on the camera and talk. I have the possibility of hiring a video maker to capture a retreat or to shoot. Most probably there's going to be a whole course that you see here on the whiteboard. And it's freeing, it's liberating, it's empowering, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And then I know that I can package it with fantastic visuals that are in a part of a coherent grammar of a vibe, which is my branding. And it's just priceless. It's just pleasure. And it becomes a pleasure to do things. It becomes a pleasure to show up, because everything has been thought through. You're not reinventing the wheel every time. There are formats, and these are video formats. I'm working on 4 video formats. I have my branding formats, and it's not about the logo. I don't care about the logo. Probably I'm going to put it in the ident here somewhere. But I don't care. It's just this sense that everything belongs together, that everything is one vibe, and that is everything. And I wish I'd started this before. If this was illuminating, if this was helpful, shoot me an email. I'm sure you can find my website. I'm sure you can find my email. Shoot me an email. I would love to hear how you're planning to leverage video and branding as an entrepreneur. And I'll see you in the next one.